Hello, hello, Shadi here, just a Black novelist in Japan, here to give you some writing techniques and a little more and help you write to your heart's content or write your heart's contents. You can pick your poison and watch along or just use me as background noise. Either is okay. Please just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe if you find my information useful here today. Now, Tiana, let's get into it. Wait. Hold on. Did you do your homework from the last video? Did you? If you don't know what I'm talking about, please check out my previous video, which I will link over here. I still don't know where I think it's on the right side. So, here, probably here, where I talk about Kisho Tengetsu. So, if you're interested in learning about what the heck I just said, please look here. All right, now let's get into it. Okay, just a few statistics that you might be interested in. A survey of creative people's work patterns found that about 25% do their creative works mainly in the morning, which actually was a surprise to me because I'll get into my routine later, but I thought it was at night, but okay. Other creatives tend to work at different times, so morning, lunch, dinner, afternoon. It says that 72% of creatives work in the morning, 48% in the afternoon, 22% in the evening, and then 15% at night. This is not like exclusive like categories right here, so don't come for me, but many work in these specific time slots. Did you also know that another study, and all of this will be linked down below, I promise, research analyzing over 2,500 people across 20 studies found that new habits take between 106 and 154 days. So on average, like a median of about 56 or 66 days before a behavior becomes automatic. So if you're wondering why when you try to start a new routine for like a month, it doesn't work, it's probably because it needs a little bit more time. A month isn't enough. Usually I would probably say 64 days, honestly. About 64 days for a habit to stick. But the point is, studies show that habits don't form in 21 days like some people try to stick to. It can take 2 to 5 months before a new behavior becomes automatic. So please keep that in mind as you are watching this video. Lastly, for the last statistic that I'm going to list, number 3, a large productivity study of writers found that authors who wrote during their natural energy peaks, repeat that, natural energy peaks were about 31% more likely to meet weekly writing goals than those who wrote at random times. So just think about when you're feeling your most creative or when you have an idea, that's your creative peak. And as I said, about 30%, you're about maybe 30% more likely to hit your weekly goal. So isn't that interesting, right? I think so. Now I'm going to tell you a bit about my background and my backstory with writing. So there are actually 3 ways I'm going to break this down. Fanfictions, my first novel, and now my second novel, which I feel like depending on how you look at it, it might be my stage in life for why my writing has kind of shifted and how my routine has shifted. But we'll get into it. Give me 2 seconds. Starting with fanfictions, I would say, like, I've been writing fanfiction since I was in middle school up until university. So there are some people, I know some people will disagree. I remember in my master's course, there was one guy that like detested fanfictions, and I was like, yikes. Better not let him know that I like religiously wrote fanfiction for over like 10 years. That's a long time, right? Anyways, so fanfictions, keep in mind, like middle school, high school, and even my like bachelor's year for writing novels, I feel like it was more like there was no pressure, there was no nothing. So I just wrote whenever. I did not have a routine. I remember back when I first wrote Graceful Mistake. I will link my fanfictions down below just so you guys can see the starting point to how I got to here. It's something, but there was no real routine, just like, okay, I know I should post a story every week. I'm gonna write as best I can and just see where that takes me. So no routine there. My first novel, I mostly wrote, I tried to make sure to have it ready for my thesis. So I feel like I also didn't really have much of a routine, but I had pressure, so to say. The pressure was that I need to have this done by a certain point. Luckily, at that time, it was only 100 pages that they asked for my thesis, right? So if you don't know how it works, for at least my previous university that I got my master's degree from in creative writing, your thesis is your either like poetry set that you're writing, or it's going to be your 100 pages of your novel, at least 180 pages, because I know I submitted over what they asked, but I just had to make sure to have those 180 pages down, ready to go. It was very easy to write. I do think I gave them more than they asked, so it was just a matter of making sure things were in place. Long story short, no routine. Just write because you have to write. And I already knew going in, I typically wrote more than what they asked for in like almost every assignment. If they wanted 1 page, I would write 3. If they needed 10 pages, I would write 30. Like, just naturally, I feel like once you get started, it is hard to stop to some degree. I don't know. Now, I will say that while I didn't have a routine, the pressure of knowing that I had something due didn't help. Like, I know I talked about pressure with fan fictions, but pressure with kind of a lack of routine, it just didn't, it felt kind of draining, honestly. A little draining knowing that, okay, I have to at least make sure I should have like 10 pages done by this day, at least. Like, that's me trying to have some kind of routine or structure in my life, because at the time I was doing university, online university, I should say. I was working a full-time job. I was also at one point moving. So I moved, I changed jobs. I needed some kind of structure to some degree to ensure that I was submitting my work on time for not just the thesis and the novel, but like all the work, some kind of routine to make sure I didn't get behind. I was still doing everything as I should, and I could still pay my bills. Now, sorry, I'm like trying to make sure I stay on track. For my second novel, my baby, I'm currently in the middle of writing my second novel for you. And, you know, there's only the pressure that I put on myself with this. And in saying this, okay, fan fictions, I'm just going to kind of break it down a little bit. Fan fictions, I wrote those almost weekly, but those were keep in mind like 10, 15 pages. I don't know, something like that. Now, go to my second novel. My first novel, which was a total of, I think, like 438 pages. It's a long read, but it's because, we'll get into that another time. There's so much to say in this video, but the over 400 pages of writing in that one novel, that took me a year and some change to write. I believe I got the official idea in November of 2023, and I technically finished January of this year writing it. And then I submitted that manuscript in February, I believe, or March, because I got very sick in February, so I submitted it in March. Story for another day. Now, again, second novel. I'm sorry, I'm all over the place with my numbers. But the second novel, I'm almost done writing it. It's going to be about, by the time I finish, maybe 350 pages, maybe. I'm hoping to finish within the next week. We'll see what happens. But guess how long it is taking me to write those 350 pages? Supposing I finish like this month or next month. That's going to be about, how long do you think? Pause the screen, type in the comments below. How long do you think it took me? Tell you in 3, 2, 1. 6 months. And if I finish, I will definitely finish by January for sure. If I finish in January, that would be 7 months to literally pop this story out. Why do you think, compared to like my routine, she says the word very loosely, it took me such a short time, this time 6-7 months. The first novel, over a year and 10 months, or a year and a month or two, so to say. And then fanfictions just, I shouldn't even include fanfictions, but like weekly, because altogether the fanfictions that I completed, those were like years of work, just dragging it out. Why do you think it went so smoothly this time? I'm gonna get into it. Okay, so, but Tiana, girl, what are you doing? Okay, I guess I'll hold her because she wants to be held, but there are so many reasons why this novel came out as I tell my mom, a smooth shit. I remember the first time I was telling my mom that I was writing the second novel and that it was just coming out like a very smooth doo-doo. She was like, first of all, she was like, what? But I'm like, no. You gotta understand, because when I was talking with her, I was like, yeah, it's going well. She's like, yeah, you're finally getting this writing thing down. I was like, no. It is like a shit, mama. I don't expect to always have a smooth shit, you know? Like, this is such a weird analogy, but I don't always expect to, like, poop smoothly. I know sometimes will be a smooth run, like what I'm having now. Other times, like, just because this one is good doesn't mean the next one, like, it could take me 2 years to write the next novel. Who knows? I don't know. I'm just acknowledging that while one story is written one way, you know, the other may be different. And I hope if you are someone that has a routine and you're wondering why maybe your first novel was a very smooth run, a smooth dookie, you know, and the next one isn't, it's totally okay. Please do not worry. Like, every story is different. You're gonna spend different amounts of time on them. So I really hope, if you were worrying about like, oh my god, my routine is failing me this time, or maybe I don't have a routine and that's the problem, like, please don't worry. As someone that has been on both sides of spending a year, some people spend 5 years writing novels. It really just depends, honestly. But as someone who at this point writes when they want to, I don't get up at 5 a.m. I know there are some people that, you know, your creativeness is very strong when it's like 3 a.m. I think, or when you first like kind of pop up. A lot of people take that time to write. I'm very much so not that type. I only really write when I get creative urges. So, you know, I just kind of do what works for me. If I don't feel like writing, I'm probably not gonna write. I don't write every day. I don't have a strict schedule. I don't like try to put pressure on myself this time around because I really just want to have fun. And I think that's very natural. Like, writing is a hobby for most of us, and most of us probably just want to have fun and enjoy our craft, which is natural. So here are 5 tips that I learned about my routine that are going to help you write your very special novel. Okay, tip number 1, do what works for you. I know you're probably thinking there are writers that work every day. They're so disciplined. They don't skip like work writing day. I know there's like leg day and arm day at the gym. They don't skip a day. You know, routine, you equate routine to being serious about your craft. But I feel like most writers and creatives can attest to, we don't know what we're doing. We're just kind of like, we're all on the, what is it, the floating rock in space. So we're all just kind of winging it and doing things as we can, or as we know to, like, just kind of wing it. We're all winging it. So I'm not saying I'm anti-routine. I'm just saying if I don't feel like writing, I'm not going to write. And that has helped me to write this second novel very quickly because I got more creative urges and pleasure doing it like this. I don't know. But please, as I previously like just said, don't force yourself to write, you know. If you're thinking a writer should do XYZ or ZYX, erase that thought, because it's not going to help you write. And if anything, what you're doing is putting more pressure on yourself, and it's just not worth it, okay? So that's my first tip. Tip number 2, learn about your style and what works for you. Honestly, if I asked you now, you can comment it below or keep it to yourself, either is okay. But what makes you happiest? Like, think about the times when you just genuinely enjoyed writing and you had fun and it came out like a smooth dookie. When did you have like when did that happen? When did that happen for you? What were you feeling? There are some people that are like habit driven. They have to write in a specific setting or with a specific playlist, or they know a certain time every day, and this is going into having a routine, which I know I said in the previous tip, like you don't need it. Not anti-routine, just saying, but some people are habit driven and have to have things a certain way before they write. Other people are emotion driven. They have to feel very touched or very moved to write, or even project driven. Like there's so many ways to think about your routine and how to go about it. So I really want you to just, even if you have to pause the video and write it down, sit and think about your, oh, my voice crack. Oh my God. How embarrassing. I'm keeping it in the video though. It's okay. Think about your routine and your style. And this is like tangent. As an English teacher, I always, the first question I ask new students, as soon as they ask to take my class, what is your learning style? What is your study style as well? Those are the two main questions I ask within the first session or in the first email. You will not believe how people do not think about what is necessary. Like, you have to know how you learn and you have to know how you study in order to properly like learn English. Like, not everyone is like that. I'm just saying it is extremely important in my humble opinion. That is just to say, in this video, as me teaching you like writing techniques, please think about your learning style, or not learning style, but learn about your style and how you like to write. Please. If anything, just do that one thing. Okay, time for tip number 3. Think about energy-based writing. This goes into my second point, but kind of just think about it for a couple of seconds. There are some people that, they insist like, oh, I have to write at the same time every day. That is my time. And then there are other people that are like, I write when my energy is just really high. Like, again, I remember as a kid specifically, like I would write every time I felt like crying, or anytime I did cry, or anytime I was very angry. I remember one time I accidentally lost my camera that my parents just gifted me for my birthday in high school. I was so scared to tell my parents, and I was so upset, and I'm pretty sure I was crying at that time too, especially after I told my mom, and she was so pissed off. I do want to say thank you to the kind janitor lady that returned my camera. Like, I left it in the morning on the table, and a janitor saw it, and she kindly returned it to staff. I don't know which janitor it was, but thank you so much, Miss Lady. Anyways, I remember at that time I wrote pages on pages, like about a girl who loved photography or something, because I was so upset. And then my mom was so pissed at me. She was like, Shadia. Ugh. But anyways, energy, emotion-based writing. Think about it. There are people like me. I write my best at night. I feel like, why is that actually? I feel like it's just like I don't have too much to worry about during the nighttime. Usually, depending on my work schedule, that's just when I have time. I work all throughout the day. Sometimes I work at night, which is why I haven't been writing at night recently, but something to think about. There are other people that write in bursts, like pop up, write, skip for a week, write, skip for 2 days, write. So there are people like that too. And that's not a routine. It's an anti-routine almost. Think about it. I'm just going to say, I implore you to think about it in terms of energy and not hours. Like, don't set a limit to yourself. I have to write at 8 p.m. for 20 minutes every day. I mean, if that works for you, shoot, go for it. I'm just throwing it out there that just write when your energy is high, and it may be beneficial for you to track when your energy is high. If you are driven by like emotion or something, maybe you should try writing after watching a sad movie or play some emotional music. Just saying. And that leads me into my 4th point. Writing in scenes, not by days or sessions. So I did this a lot for my second novel actually, and it worked out really well. I was like, okay, I have to make sure to get this scene out. I'm so sorry for the voice cracks. My voice is so dry, and my throat is so dry right now. I've been talking all day. I worked a lot today, so kind of all over the place. But try to write in scenes. For this novel, just to give a little bit of information about it, I would have a scene where, let's say, the main character has to do something for the main male lead character. Right now, the main character's name is Noah, and the main male character's name is June. There were so many times where I would write a scene thinking like, okay, so I know that there's going to be a dinner event where someone tries to kill June. So I write that scene, but then it segues into another scene that I have to write. And then just naturally the scenes kind of unfolded, if that makes sense. Like, okay, right now I'm writing the dinner scene, but then I have to segue to, okay, after the dinner scene, they're talking. And then I'm just like, okay, for the next day, I will write the talking scene. Sometimes it's only 1 page, sometimes it's 3 pages, sometimes it's 10 pages. But I feel like writing in sections like that really, really, really helped me, just because how my mind works is I see things in this case as like a K-drama. So each episode, something different takes place or something needs to happen. So in that specific case, writing it out scene by scene and picturing it almost as if a sequence or a segue or a transition really, really helped me to know when to stop writing so that I didn't burn out or overexert myself. And also just like helped me to really clear my mind. Like, you know, when a chapter comes to an end, or at least for me, I try to put no more than 10 pages in a single chapter, because I'm also thinking about the reader and how they may be a bit tired if they have to read more than that in one sitting. I don't know if they're reading at night or in the morning or whatever, but just keeping that in mind, breaking it down like that, page-wise, scene-wise, transition-wise, thinking about all of that kept me from feeling burnt out, made me make sure that I was staying on track and making things very clear where a chapter ended and then the next one started. And then, like, again, it naturally built momentum. I'll tell you. Oh, so it transitions to basically where in For You, the novel, the main character is talking with her overseer, and the overseer is like, I'm giving you the option, you can take on this case or not. I'm going to give you a full, not even 24 hours. I think she had like 12 hours to decide. And the overseer was like, and I want you back before that time ends. So it's kind of like an empty time, kind of, not a threat, but like I expect you to be here to let me know your answer before then. So that was clear stop. I ended that specific chapter with, okay, the overseer has given her this contract, and now it segues into the next chapter, very clear cut, where she's back where she is and she has to think realistically, do I want to take this contract? The next chapter goes into her answer. So easy to build momentum that way. I didn't stress myself or overthink about the whole situation. I just wrote it out and it was okay. I didn't, or sorry, I know I'm all over the place, but this is actually something I'm pretty passionate about because I feel like routine goes into psychology. And if you know me, my bachelor's degree is in psychology and I really love talking about it. I'm like geeking out here. But, you know, when I think about it, just again, I feel like it all circles back to not putting pressure on yourself. When I was writing at least the beginning parts of this novel or the chapters, and even writing now, I don't think, okay, I have to write for 3 hours a day. Okay, I have to write for 30 minutes a day. It's like every day is different. One day it will be just 30 minutes of writing and I'm okay with that. Another day it'll be 3 hours. Okay, I had a creative burst and it led me to 3 hours of writing, which, hey, I'm all for. And it's not to say that I stop when I finish that one chapter. Oftentimes, especially now that I'm at the end of the novel, what happens is I'll start writing and sometimes I'll only write like 10 words and then I'm like, okay, I'm done for the day. I'm actually tired, but you know, it's one more word than the day before. But you know, it really just depends on who you ask and the routine. Mine is I write how I want to avoid burnout or feeling too tired about the novel. Sometimes that's 10 words. Other times it's over 1,000 words in one sitting. So do what you will. Now, on to point number 5. Writing triggers for your work. You can set up some writing triggers to kind of get you in the same like energy feeling every time. I remember one friend, next friend, back in high school who would like spray this. It was like a very short time she did this, but she would spray this perfume or this scent every time she studied. So that way when she smelled it again, she would recall information. And that actually really does work if you are trying to study and retain the information. So if you are someone who needs a routine, well, I didn't do this for this particular novel, not to say I won't in the future, but having the same playlist, like if you're someone that needs music when you're writing, have the same playlist over and over and over again. There are lots of great instrumentals that are good for when you're writing your novel. If you're someone that likes to have a drink, have the same drink every time you plan to sit down and write your novel. Even small things like light. Oh, I have a candle over there actually. Lighting a candle or some notebook that you like to write in. Do what you gotta do to get the novel out. And again, as someone who doesn't have a routine, I will say for a good portion of this novel, the ending the ending song to this channel, you can hear it playing. I play that almost every time just because there are lyrics to the song that I'm making as of this moment, and listening to it, the reason why I chose this specific melody is just listening to it, it makes my mind feel colorful. I don't listen to it all the time. There are times when I'll have the TV playing in the background. There are times where it's dead silent in my room. Other times where I'm literally just sitting on the train and like, oh, I should have this one. Write it out. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. Oh, moving on from that, I promise I'm going to end the video. I know it's dragging on, but I promise I'm almost done. Point number 6. I know I said 5 tips. I'm not a compulsive liar or a liar, but I just wanted to give some extra information for those that may need it. Instead of a routine, you can think of just a mini rule for yourself. Like, okay, when I feel the urge to write, I'm going to write. That idea will get you so far. If you're someone that doesn't even have like a laptop on you all the time and you don't have the time to write, take out your notes app or a notebook. Either or, it'll get you to write. I promise you it will. Will? Oh my god, I'm so sorry for my English in this episode. Okay, next one. Minimum promise. If you are someone that absolutely needs a routine, okay, 1 paragraph a day. Do not force yourself to write more than you absolutely need to, okay? Promise you, it will help. 1 paragraph a day, 1 page a day. If not, I'm not gonna beat myself up about it. Either it's okay? So just keep that in mind. Do what you can without putting pressure on yourself. That should be the logo of the video. Don't put pressure on yourself, okay? And then lastly, going into the very last point I just said on the, my brain is like farting right now. Going into the last point I said about like listening to the same playlist or just lighting the same candle, make it a ritual, like have fun with it. This isn't related to writing, but there are times when like I come home and I think of it as a ritual because every time I come to these doors, I make sure to wash my hands before I like go in and touch everything. So thinking of it as like a purifying ritual where I'm, like taking care of myself and making sure my hands are clean, or specifically my rings, and I will talk about my rings one day, but making sure these rings on this hand, don't know if you can see it, are clean, and viewing it as a beautiful ritual and kind of adding meaning to it can maybe encourage you to write more. I like rituals and stuff like that, so just saying. And my last bit of parting advice for this is, if you do not have a routine, don't worry about it. I'm very much so someone who just, again, writes when I want to. I don't have a routine. I do what I want. You do what you want. So don't fret. Don't worry. Or whatever Bob Marley said. Don't worry. Be happy. It's okay if you don't. If you are someone who's looking for routine, maybe this is why this video found you at this time. Maybe so you could think about a few things. I hope. So I want you to really think of your creativity as seasonal and ever-changing. It's not something that will always be the same. Like I was telling my mom and I just told you, sometimes it's a very smooth, runny shit. Sometimes it's a bumpy, almost like keloid. Is that what they're called? No, it's something with stone. Kidney stone. Sometimes it's like kidney stones and it's really hard to get out. Just take care of it though. If you have kidney stones, I'm sorry, but please take care of it. But it's ever changing, it's seasonal. You don't need to worry if you don't have a routine down. If your routine suddenly isn't working, it just means that you're changing. Your routine is changing. That's natural, okay? I really hope you can think of it as some seasons are very productive, some are just reflective, and others, you know, actually no, there are many others, but just think of either if it's reflective or if it is just like seasonal with productivity. They're both very useful. Sometimes you're just meant to edit and not, you know, really think too much about writing. Other times you're not. I don't know. But no matter what, please be kind to yourself. Just remember that if your writing style gets you to one more word on the page, one other page done, or even to the very last page of what you're writing in your novel, you're doing everything as you should and you're doing it right and you're a rock star, no matter how long it takes you. Okay? I just really want this video to be something that says, you know, you're okay. No matter what you're doing it okay, as long as you're adding something to the page or something creative to what you're already doing. If you have a different routine or any advice, please comment it down below for other fellow writers to read and hopefully feel inspired by or have some food for thought. You never know. Now that I have given you some techniques and tools to help you with your routine, let's talk about that homework, okay? So for 1 week, I want you to stop forcing a routine. If you are someone that has a routine, try to stop it just for a week. It probably won't stick because, again, going back to what I said about statistics, it does take time for routines to stick, but write only when you want to and track how much you actually get done. Comment your homework experience below, and yeah. If you didn't check out my previous video on Kisho Gentetsu, please, Kisho Tenketsu? Oh, I always say that wrong. Kisho Tenketsu. Please check out the previous video here. I think it's here. I don't know. If you liked my video, please make sure to subscribe so that you can get notified for my next video on Wednesday, where I talk about how to write a killer first chapter. You can check out the description box below for my socials like Instagram, where you see behind the scenes of my life in Japan, and as a novelist too, my TikTok, and also for any statistics I listed below in case you were curious about them or, I don't know, needed them for a research paper. In the meantime, stay happy, safe, healthy, and creative, and be sure to write your heart's contents, okay? See you in the next one. Bye!